to another Photoshop project. In this project we're going to practice key montage skills by combining a giraffe with a road using Photoshop. So to start off with, we have the giraffe image and we also have a road image where we're going to blend in the giraffe so that it hopefully looks quite convincing. So with the giraffe to the fore and selection tool active, we can go to the select menu and choose select subject. So we give the software a moment or two in order to make that initial selection, which is pretty good, and then we can go into select and mask in order to improve that selection further. So to start off with, I'm just going to view the selection on overlay, and then we can just see any areas that need to be adjusted. So the radius needs to be increased, so anything between 3 and 5 works well, and that's just how far the effects of the Refine Edge tool are going to be felt. And then we can see where that white is showing through, so we just paint a little bit and then give the software a chance to catch up. So we're just basically telling Photoshop where the edge is and what needs to be included in this selection. So we just paint a little and then just make sure that everything's nicely included. So the longer you spend on this stage the better, because obviously key to everything is a good selection. There may be parts of the image that need to be improved, so we need to just paint in this area here. So now I've gone from the Refine Edge tool to the Quick Selection tool and just quickly paint over. My brush is quite soft, so that has again just gone a little bit wide of the mark. So you can just go back over it until you get more or less the sort of effect that you're looking for. This can as well be tidied up later once we go into the actual composite itself. Just make that. Just unsubtract, and then again I'm just going back to my Refine Edge, reduce that down and just paint in the area that needs to be adjusted. So it'll go dark at first and then it will be corrected. So we're just adding to the mask here and tidying things up where possible. If you want to check what you've done so far, then you can just view. Instead of viewing on overlay, you can view on marching ants, and then you can see just how accurate the selection is. So it's always good practice just to spend a little bit longer and then just go around and check to see how that's looking. So once that's complete, we just go back to the base of the panel, and the output is going to be output to a new layer with a layer mask. Then we click OK, and that will just take us back into the main editing screen. So I'm just going to press Command and 0 on a Mac, Control and 0 in order to fit the giraffe on screen. And then with the Move tool selected, we're just going to click and drag up into the road and down. Obviously the giraffe is quite large, so if we press Command and T, we can just reduce everything down, and then by pulling in from the corner handle. So you may need to just move the giraffe, and it takes a little bit of jiggling just to resize the giraffe so it's more in keeping with the size of the road. So we just pull that in like so. And once we're just about there in terms of height, we can click the tick to commit and then press Command or Control plus plus just in order to see how that's looking. So the giraffe is on its own layer. Again, we can use the Move tool and reposition as needs be. At this stage you would just go over and make sure that everything looks nice and tidy, I'm going to highlight the base layer, pop in a new layer, and then with black as the foreground colour and a brush tool selected, again using the brush at a low opacity, then we can just paint in a little bit of shadow just around the giraffe's feet, just to help ground him a little bit and add a bit more credibility to the scene. So just paint that shadow in like so. I think there's maybe another layer gone in there by mistake. So if you too vigorous with pressing that button, you get another layer. You can just delete that so you have the right order of layers. So now going to the top of the layer stack, we can press Command, Shift, Alt and E, and that will create a merged copy, or Control, Shift, Alt and E on Windows. That's a merged copy, which we can then go into Filter and Camera Raw Filter. And then we can just apply a few tonal adjustments. So if there's anything that needs to be done, you can always take the highlights down a little bit. If the shadows need opening up, open those a little bit, and then choose a new colour profile. So in colour profiles, we can go for artistic. There's this is a backlit image, so soft light coming through. So when you use something with a cool colour palette, so I've gone for artistic 4. And then we're back into the main screen. So whichever layer you've got the giraffe on, so if I've got mine second from the top, and again I'm going to choose some white here and a fairly low opacity. Just see how that's working. Maybe want it a little bit higher, so increasing the opacity of the brush. And we'll just have a look to see here. We'll just take that up one. Then we can always just brush in a little bit of extra mist to again add credibility to the scene. So just take that out, increase the size of the brush, and then take that down. So again, it depends which layer your giraffe is on, just so you can brush in a little bit of mist. So it's worth just experimenting with the right opacity until you get the effect that you're looking for. Still might need to just pop that above. A little bit too dense with the mist there, so take it down again. Pop another layer over the top, and then it's just again to add in that mist. So that's working quite well, just adding that layer to the top and just painting in the mist just so it swirls around the giraffe. So that's just painting at 20% using white, and that's working quite well. You can always go on to a lower layer if you want to add to the mist as well. Paint at a higher opacity, and again just get some mist swirling around the scene. And there we have it. If you wish to take out the saturation, that is another option. So at the top of the stack, we could add in a hue saturation adjustment layer, and then looking at the properties of that layer, we could always just reduce the saturation just to take out some of the colour in the scene. Again, adds to the credibility of it all. And then all that remains is to just go to the layer menu and flatten image. And there we have it, the giraffe composite. Thank you for watching.